Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Now, for various reasons which I won't get into, but mostly due to my incompetence, I had an audio meltdown with this video, so I'm doing this as a voiceover for you. Now, the wheel video, I did an unboxing of a set of bike wheels, which are a set of the Prime RR-50 version 3s at the start of the year, and it's my most popular video, so I thought I should do a follow-up, just share some thoughts about the wheels and a little bit of a sneaky sort of buy, maybe not buy recommendation. So yeah, let me get into those thoughts for you. Now, I'll cover why would you want to get a set of wheels, or why would you want to upgrade your wheels. Now, for me, my initial thought was my bike's quite heavy. It weighs about 10.5 kilograms or so. So my idea was I wanted to try and get the weight of the bike down a little bit. However, I probably haven't achieved that. If I'm honest, I haven't weighed the bike yet, or haven't weighed the bike with the new wheels on it. But yeah, I don't think really the weight has decreased. If it has to be minimal, because the wheel set themselves, according to the website, so I bought these off Wiggle. Now, Prime is sort of like the Wiggle house brand. So I bought these off Wiggle, and the weight on the Wiggle website is about 1,700 or so grams for the set, which, yeah, I'll get into some other things about the weight a little bit later, but they are, I think by the time I got the tyres on, the disc rotors, or the brake rotors, and the rear cassette, the weight saving, the weight saving probably really isn't that great. So I do know, and I have weighed my old set of wheels, so they probably, the weight saving probably really isn't there. That said, these wheels are 50 mil deep, so they have a lot more material, whereas my other wheels are just shallow aluminium rims. So the weight probably is the same, but you do get the performance benefits of the deeper rim is quite good. It really depends, I guess, what you're after, but I initially was after, I just wanted to save some weight. But I got, I think, better performance because I feel that the wheels help me get up to speed quicker. I feel I can maintain higher speeds a bit easier. They perform pretty well in crosswinds. I haven't had any huge dramas. If the wind is sort of constant, you learn how to ride the wheels. So you sort of lean into it a little bit, for example. So it's not really a huge issue. But if there is a bit of a gust, it can snap the front end a little. But if that happens, all I do is I stop pedaling, so I can just sort of regain control of the bike and continue on. I've not felt any problems with wind in regards to the rear end of the bike. Of course, it's always the front end, but I guess that's where the steering and where the pivot of the bike. Yeah, I've not really had too many problems in regards to crosswinds and that sort of stuff. Like when I first rode the bike, it was an interesting experience, but once I got back from that ride, I had already learnt some of the basic sort of tricks and things that I need to be able to handle the wheels and just in general be used to the wheel and how they perform, as opposed to my other wheels. Now, the quality, as in the build quality of the wheels, I think is pretty decent. Look, I'll say this, that I have not. I'd say I'm pretty early in my cycling sort of journey. So when it comes to comparing these wheels to other sets of wheels, I can't really make too much. I can't make a comparison. I can't say, well, these wheels are as good as or as bad as or another set of carbon rims. but I've not had any problems with them at all. I have ran over a couple of things I probably shouldn't have. I ran over a rock once, and the rear wheel has got a bit of a scrape on it, but general cycling, general riding around roads, on dirty shoulders, etc., they have been good. The spokes are still nice and tight and quite good. So I think the general build quality of the wheel set is quite decent, or is pretty good. That said, I have done about 2,000, or not quite 2,000 kilometers on this set of wheels. So yeah, that's a lot of riding, but I guess if I ever get them up to, say, 5, 6, 7,000 Ks, it'll be interesting to see how the longevity of them, or how they are over a long period of time. Now, I do have a couple of gripes. This isn't really with the build quality of the wheel, but it is just with extra little things that you get. These wheels came to me tubeless ready, and when I bought them, I got Tyres and I also got tubeless sealant. So I was like, oh, it's a tubeless ready kit, But one thing I wish they could have done, and other brands do this, and that is supply tubeless valves. If I had spent a bit more money and purchased a more reputable, higher-end brand, I probably would have got the tubeless valves, for instance. Also, the literature I find is lacking. Really, all you get is information on warranty, pretty much. You don't really get anything in regards to, I guess, general sort of statistics or specifications for wheels. You do get a spacer in the box. That is if you're running a 10-speed cassette, for example, you put spacer on, and there are some other couple of little bits and pieces in regards to spacers, but there was none of that, like explaining what that stuff was in the literature that came with the wheels. So I think that if they're going to be selling the wheels tubeless ready, especially in the bundle with the tyres and the sealant, they should be supplying valves, and I would like to see the literature of the wheels sort of expanded a little bit. Now, the price. These wheels cost me, so as I said, the wheel set, it came with tyres and also tubeless sealant, and they cost me, if I recall, about $880 at the time. This was sort of November, December time I purchased the wheels. I had them for a few weeks before I actually was able to get them on the bike. I think for the money, I think they're a 50mm carbon rim. Like, they're not top quality, they're not Envy wheels, they're not Mavic, they're not, Zip or Bontrager or whatever. They are a more budget brand. They're not wheels off AliExpress, so they're hopefully better quality than them. So I think for what they are, they're pretty good value. Look, I was considering getting a set of Zip 303S wheels. Now, for a set of them, it would cost me about $2,000. And also, they're 45s, I believe, or they 40s. I think they might be 45mm deep, so they're not quite as deep. However, they are lighter. Look, the build quality, I would at least expect, would be a lot higher because they're at that bit higher price point. Of course, as I said, not that my wheels are bad. And also, I had to take into consideration, and I think this is an important thing to take into consideration when you're buying a set of wheels, especially if you're getting a first set of wheels, you have to consider the price. Because if I was going to get the Zip wheels, for example, the set of them was going to cost as much as what my bike cost me in the first place. And it's, is it worth putting a $2,000 set of wheels on a $2,000 bike? Really, probably not. If I had BMC love to sell bikes with shallow rims, if I'd spent $7,000-8,000 on, for example, a BMC, right, and they come with awful shallow wheels on them, I think I could justify getting the better wheels on the better bike. But well, at least in that case, I'm not going to be spending more on a set of wheels than what my bike cost me. So I think it is important, or it's most definitely something to consider when you're looking at getting a set of wheels. What are they costing you in regards to what the bike cost you? Now, just a couple of thoughts on the tyres. Now, I decided to try Tubeless because the wheels came, quote, tubeless ready, came with the tubeless tyres, came with sealant. So the tyres are Hutchinson Fusion 5s, and they have been good. I've had no trouble with them at all. No trouble with the tubeless setup. I haven't gone out to the bike and it's been flat or anything like that. And, I'm not riding on clean roads either, and I've had no punctures at all. As I said, the tyres have been holding air quite well. I haven't gone out and the tyre has been flat or anything like that. They don't have much wear on them after about 2,000 k's. No, they are pretty much a slick wheel with very sort of minimal tread on them, if you could call it tread. That's for sure. But the tyres have been pretty good, and I would suggest that if you're out there and you're on the fence about trying a tubeless wheel setup, I think if you're, say for example, you buy this sort of bundle, or you get a bundle where you get wheels, you get tyres, you get sealant, give it a go, especially if you buy, especially if you get valves supplied. But it's worth giving a go. You can easily go back to tubes if you're not happy or it's not working for you. But I tried it and it's working for me. And at least at this point, I'm not really sure I would probably go back to a more traditional tube or inner tube wheel. Now let's just talk about maybe some alternatives, or at least maybe a solid alternative to these wheels that is a little bit cheaper. It isn't a carbon rim, it is aluminium, and they're not quite as deep. Now, I myself was considering getting a set of these wheels, and that is the Fulcrum Racing 4 disc brake, or DB. Now, they are a 35mm deep rim, and they probably weigh similar because they are made, of course, of aluminium. They're not a carbon construction. Now, you can get a set of them, once again, sort of off Wiggle or whatever, they're about $500-ish. So once you buy a set of them, get tyres and your consumables, so like a rear cassette and your brake rotors, you're probably going to be spending maybe about as much as what I spent on my wheels. So if you're looking at, if you're sort of a bit unsure, maybe you're early into your cycling journey, you want to get a wheel upgrade, I most definitely think something like the Fulcrums could be a good, tangible alternative option for you. They look good. I know somebody has a set, and they're solid, good wheels. So I think they could most definitely be a good alternative for you. Now, with all that said, would I buy another set of the Prime RR-50 wheels? Honestly, look, I probably wouldn't. Now, not because they are a bad set of wheels, but because I don't have anything to compare them to. So I would probably buy a different brand of wheel so I can ride them and go, oh, they're good as the Primes, they're as bad as the Primes, or sort of blah, blah, blah. Like, I'd have a reference point then. I would maybe consider looking at getting a set of the Prime Black wheels, which is sort of like the bit more upper market version of these wheels. I most definitely would probably look at getting a set of them, because they're a little bit different, or they're a little bit lighter in their construction. And just a little bit more high quality. So I would maybe consider getting a set of them, but I probably wouldn't buy another set of these wheels, not because they're bad wheels, but because I would want to try something else. I would want to try something different, basically. So I don't think that's really a bad thing to be saying. It's like, I'm not going, I wouldn't buy these wheels because they've broken in half on me. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for watching. This is the end of the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, share, or and all that jazz. And yeah, sub if you haven't already, if you want to. And I will catch you in the next video. Thank you very much.